Hi, and welcome. I'm here to present the second part in a four-part video series introducing you to the Nordic Circular Economy Playbook by Nordic Innovation. This video will focus on what capability and technology gaps need to be addressed. I hope you enjoy. I will now hand it over to Hedda.
Thank you, Hanna. I will now elaborate a bit more on the capabilities that we see are necessary for pivoting to the circular economy business models. And we know that the circular opportunities requires investments in both resources and capabilities. And the playbook has identified 9 different capabilities that can be clustered around 3 topics. And the first topic is employing customer-centric design to enable additional sales throughout the product life cycle. And the key here is to put the customer needs and requirements in the center of the design of the product. And you can do this by actually including your customers early on in a co-creation process. The design process should also focus on how to extend the life cycle of the product, either through repairing, reselling it, or remanufacturing it. And here you can employ circular design principles that you can also read more about in the playbook. And this then goes hand in hand with actually creating customer interaction points throughout the life cycle of the product. And an example of a company that's invested quite a lot in these kind of capabilities is the Danish energy company Vestas. Vestas offers repair and upgrade services to their wind turbines. So as the technology matures, they're able to upgrade their existing wind turbines and increasing the efficiency of that turbine. So this is a great example of how they are continuously creating interaction points with the customers. The second topic focuses on how to handle your resources and how to ensure that the materials and your products are kept in a closed cycle. And here, the first step would be to focus on how you actually source materials and be able to assess and start accessing new material from different sources. And this can be from internal take-back systems, it can be from circular marketplaces, or for example, secondary commodity markets. It also focuses on actually how to produce, remanufacture, and recycle your products. And what we have found here is that it's key to actually have that visibility of the products that you currently have in your cycle. And here we are seeing how companies are investing in digital tools to, for example, keep track of this. And finally, this theme also focuses on how to actually be able to take back your products. And here we're seeing it's key to have the ability to establish return systems so that it's easy for your customers to actually dispose of your products. And one example of a company that has invested in how to handle their resources is the Icelandic energy company HS Orka. They're operating geothermal plants in Iceland, and they have also created business parks and invited companies in to co-locate and directly utilize the streams of that geothermal plant, and thereby increasing the yield of their energy as well. Our last theme is a bit more overarching, and it focuses on how to use data, your ecosystems, and also your organization to make the pivot towards circular transformation. Because we are seeing that being able to derive insight from data and technology is key. And a first initial step here would be to invest in digital tools that collects data and visualize this data, and then build on top of this. We also need to emphasize how important organization and steering is, and the need to actually embed circular principles into your organization, into the leadership and processes. And finally here as well, we're seeing the need to be able to handle your ecosystem partners and either leverage the existing network that you already have and build new ones, for example, through digital platforms. And one example here is the Finnish co-creation platform DMEC. So here, Finnish companies can join and actually create products and services that are data-based on this platform and collaborating with other companies. And in the Nordics, we're seeing that a lot of the companies are focusing on changing the organization and culture, building this ecosystem, and also how to design for circularity. And if you are interested in understanding more about your own maturity in terms of capabilities, I will recommend you to take a look at the tool that we have available on the Nordic Innovation website. And now I will hand it over to Alexander, who will discuss this topic a bit further with our guests.
Thank you, Hedda. We're now joined by Shrabani Barua, Nanna Lundsgaard, and Jesper Gjerlang from Danfoss, a component and system manufacturer from Denmark. They will be sharing with us their experience with circular economy and why culture and organization is such an important part of the journey. Welcome, Shrabani, Nanna, and Jesper. So, can you give us a brief overview of the circular opportunities you are seeing at Danfoss?
Sure. We have in Danfoss for many years delivered products that help reduce energy consumption for a lot of different applications and in different industries. So sustainability has been part of our business for a long time. Now we are looking into exploring the possibilities within circular economy, and we have identified actually several different possibilities. One of them being to expand our services for more advanced maintenance and repair so that we can support prolong the lifetime of our products and maybe over time also shift to more service-based business models. We have been working with lightweight design to reduce the material used in the products or paper for manuals. We are looking into designing for easier remanufacture or reuse of components or recycling of the materials. And we are also exploring the possibilities for reverse logistics and take back so that we could enable harvesting of parts and materials for new products. We also look into increasing factory recycling of waste materials from the manufacturing process and also the use of more green materials, which could, for example, be plastic based on recycled content or packaging based on recycled materials, as well as returnable packaging. So we see all this both as a possibility to improve the sustainability profile of our products, but also an opportunity to seize new business models or reduce costs. So there is also a direct business angle to it.
Thank you, Jesper. Very interesting. We also see culture in organization as an important enabler. Could you elaborate on how you are collaborating across different segments and group functions to drive the circular work forward? And how are you achieving synergies across the company in Danfoss?
Yes, sure. Danfoss actually is a business of, you could say, 3 business segments and thereby more than 20 product lines as a whole. And that also means that for all those product lines to come into one way of doing it is simply not feasible. But no doubt, as Jesper also said, sustainability is really high on the agenda and has always been. The same, you could say, from a product compliance perspective, which is also, of course, towards directives and legislation, very, very important for Danfoss to comply to. But basically, you could say the essence for embarking on the circular economy and for securing a common culture is simply to secure a common language. And that comes back to the fact that Jesper just pointed at, which different work streams is it that we should initiate, what makes sense from a product perspective, but certainly even more from a customer and supplier perspective. And therefore, the common denominators here is really our customers and our suppliers to create this common language. To begin with, you could say circular economy for Danfoss was very much a focus on where do we actually see waste and how can we overcome that. But all in all, circular economy is much more than that. And as Jesper also mentioned, leading towards new opportunities for both Danfoss as well as our suppliers and customers. So it is a way of really creating a holistic approach, looking across the entire value chain, but at the same time, really look to our foundation of Danfoss being a sustainable company. And that's how you could say that we are really creating a good culture around it.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm also curious to understand a bit more how you practically have worked to create this common understanding of circular economy in Danfoss.
Yes, so it was crucial from the start to define what circular economy specifically means for us at Danfoss, in the hopes of making this huge umbrella term, as we know it to be, as tangible and as actionable as possible. And we thankfully realized from early on that it was very important for us to have this definition and communicate it internally, and thereby create a common understanding which would act as a solid foundation to start off our circular journey on. We've already had several knowledge sharing sessions, for example, for the different functions and business units in our 3 segments, for leadership teams and also for top management, ensuring we spread the word and knowledge at all levels across the organization. And in these knowledge sharing sessions, as well as before starting any circular activities, we always begin with the theoretical introduction to what is circular economy, including the different business models and examples from the industry as a means to inspire people and to ensure that everyone's on the same page. In fact, the Circular Economy Playbook has actually acted as a source of knowledge for this. So thank you for that. And we try to be transparent and communicate our efforts internally as much as possible, as well as externally. For example, we have shared some internal examples of what we've been doing with circular economy on our latest sustainability report. And we also share internally within with articles, with forums. And I think we can definitely see that the word is not only spreading, but people are starting to act on it. So yeah, it looks promising.
Thank you very much, Srivoni, Nanna, and Jesper, for sharing with us today. I will now hand it over to Hedda, who will explain how technology is an accelerator for the circular economy.
Thank you, Alexander. Because we see that technology has become a game changer for circular economy. And we have a whole range of technologies that are transforming our value chains, from IoT to analytics to robotics. And the playbook has identified 27 technologies that can be clustered into 3 types of technologies, which are digital, physical, and biological technologies. And digital technologies, these are technologies that are based on the electronics, communication, and computer sciences, which often captures, transmits, and uses data to derive insights. And one example of this is the Swedish company SKF Insight. They have developed a technology for the railway and wind industry to capture operational conditions from rotating machinery. And by using this data, their customers are able to plan their maintenance and contribute to extending the life of their assets. Then we have physical technologies. Physical technologies are technologies that interact with their environment. They're tangible. And this can be a 3D printer, printing spare parts, or a robot. And one example is the Finnish company Zen Robotics. They produce robots that sorts waste depending on the weight and the shape of the waste. And thereby they're able to sort waste much quicker than a human, but also with more accuracy. And finally, we have biological technologies. And these are technologies that are based on biological aspects to actually create new processes or products. And this can be the more known technologies, such as bio-based energy or bio-based material. But it can also be, for example, nanotechnology. And one example here is the Finnish company BioGTS that produces biogas from, for example, waste coming from the agriculture industry. And technology has a crucial role to play in both realizing the value and also ensuring scalability. But we do see that they mature differently, depending on the investments and also the R&D timeframes. We do typically see that digital technologies have been the ones that are most invested in, and these are the ones that are typically more mature. But we are also seeing how biological and physical technologies are picking up the pace. And if you are interested in assessing your own maturity within technologies, I recommend you to have a look at our maturity assessment, which you can find on Nordic Innovation's website. And I will now hand it over to Alexander, who will discuss this topic further with our guests.
We're now joined by Sarah McGovern from Vattenfall, an energy company from Sweden. She will be sharing with us her thoughts on how technology can boost the circular transformation at Vattenfall. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you.
What kind of potential are you seeing in the circular economy for Vattenfall?
Well, as an energy company, our key role is, of course, to provide energy, so renewable and fossil-free energy that can power the circular economy, and making energy sources more circular by applying new business style thinking and new circular models is, of course, essential and creates opportunities for us. The decisions that we make today, we obviously have to deal with tomorrow, so we are learning how we can think differently when it comes to how we do things to be more circular. Like, can we reduce material already in the design phase? Can we work on reducing our wastes, or can we use different types of materials? We also see potential in using new technologies as enablers, such as, for example, digital solutions, or can we instead use bio-based materials? Can we store energy in new ways, or use new technical ways of doing things that can help us to become more circular in our processes?
Very interesting mentioning technologies. Are you able to go a bit more into examples on how Vattenfall is implementing some of these technologies to drive your transformation towards circularity in the coming, both short term and long term?
Yes, of course. I mean, we of course see a lot of potential in the developments in renewable energy technologies and in the area of battery storage, as renewable energy technologies are becoming more and more efficient, and we're also seeing improvements in battery storage technologies. We also see potential in combining these, so creating sort of hybrid parks where you can have several different technologies. You can have wind, you can have solar, you can have battery storage, and you can have hydrogen production in one place. And this means that you can utilize the land space in a better way. And we also see that we can that way integrate more in renewable energy into the system as these technologies sort of complement each other. We also work with improving how we use resources. One example is our effort in exploring recycling option for wind turbine blades, and also testing together with partners alternative materials, like can we make wind turbine towers out of wood, for example. We also use digital solutions in different ways for smarter steering so that we can reduce resource consumption. Also for monitoring to extend the lifetime of our assets. We also use technical solutions such as drones to more effectively be able to inspect assets like grids or hydropower dams, or even confined spaces that would otherwise be quite difficult to access. And this way we can save fuel and manpower, and we can also in a better way see, do we have maintenance needs, or is there anything else we can do in this area?
Looking a bit even further into the future, what kind of technologies do you think will have the highest potential for Vattenfall?
Yeah, I mean, our strategy is centered around transforming our generation portfolio towards going fossil-free and on enabling a fossil-free society. So to reach climate targets, it will be important for us to improve resource management. And we do see that we need to do this, of course, in the energy business, but also that it will be important to do this for other sectors. So we see large potential in this development. Can we build partnerships and support the electrification of other sectors and industries? One example is, of course, the hybrid project where Vattenfall is working together with steel manufacturer SSAB and mining company LKAB to develop fossil-free steel by replacing the coal that is traditionally used in steel making with hydrogen made from renewable and fossil-free energy. We also see potential in the electrification of the transport sector. The electric mobility sector is obviously growing, and we are providing electric vehicle charging services. And we also see large potential in being able to electrify heavy transports further, considering both marine transports but also transport on roads. I think overall, the transition to a circular economy is, of course, a challenge for all of us, but I think we also see that for Vattenfall, this can be a large opportunity.
Thank you, Sarah, for sharing the examples and the stories and for joining us today. I will now hand it over to Hanna, who will conclude.
Thank you. We hope you found the video useful in your circular journey. You can explore and start working with the playbook and the toolkit on our website. The next video, the third one, will focus on identifying and tackling barriers. Thank you for watching.